If you click on this video and thought that doing a PhD might be a way to get rich, then you'll be disappointed because I'm in arts and humanity, and what we are doing in everyday life is criticizing how evil capitalism is, and I'm so sure that doing a PhD in this field cannot bring me a lot of money. But if you are still curious about how much I earn and how I can be financially independent, welcome to the video. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Yahua, a third-year PhD candidate at the University of Melbourne. In this video, I will spill the tea and chat with you how much I earned during my candidature. But before we get started, I just want to clarify that I am by no means encouraging anyone to prioritize making money, especially when you are a full-time student. Money is a tricky thing. It can support you and make you feel that you are an independent adult, but it can also blind our eyes in terms of what is a priority in life. That's why later in this video, I also want to make some comments on doing side hustles. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. First off, the largest amount of income coming from the scholarship, which covers the tuition fees as well as the living stipend. So when I first started in 2021, the stipend was around $32,000 a year, and now it increased to around $34,000 a year. I'm extremely lucky to receive the scholarship from the uni, and I would say that living stipend is enough for paying the bills, but it's hard to save any money by only relying on the stipend, because when you're living in a place like Melbourne where everything is expensive, maybe a large amount of money would go to the rent and then paying other bills. There are lots of different types of scholarship depending on the location or your universities, but then it's also common for lots of students to self-fund their PhD because a scholarship is extremely competitive. That's why lots of PhD students would do multiple part-time jobs to support their life, which brings me to my next income stream, teaching and researching. My second income stream is coming from my part-time tutoring at uni, and I also did some casual research assistant work before. Because I haven't got my doctoral degree yet, so my salary is pretty much at the bottom of this higher education pyramid. For an RA work, it's usually around $45 per hour. For tutoring, it's usually around $53 an hour, depending on your contract type and how many hours you work. For a casual tutor, the pay rate is higher, ranging from $100 to $150 per hour. But then there are issues with casualization, unpaid work, which I don't want to talk too much about that. Although, like I said, my salary is like at the bottom of the pyramid, and then the tax in Australia is super high, I still think that this kind of work can give me a good amount of money to support my living expenses. And I also like the fact that these are considered as a kind of skills and work experiences that I can even put on my resume. The third type of income stream is coming from content production on social media. In other words, being a creator, a KOL or influencer, whatever you want to call it. Just to give you a bit of background here, I have been making videos for a few years, and then my content spreads across Chinese social media as well as US-based platforms, and my channels on these platforms have different sizes. Some have more subscribers with over 100k followers, and some have fewer, like thousands. Although some platforms share ad revenues with creators, the amount of money that I gain from the platforms is not much. Or maybe because my YouTube channel is considered as a failure. For me, how I usually get paid is through making sponsored content with brands and advertisers. Due to the blooming digital economy, creators or influencers have become a new type of job right now. I'm lucky enough to make my channel sustainable by doing sponsorship occasionally, but then this type of work is not only tiring and time consuming and requires you to think a lot about creativity, but it is also precarious. A lot of creators produce content because they love to do it, the so-called generating electricity for love, despite their income fluctuating all the time. Alright, that's pretty much about my three main income streams. My overall principle towards money is pretty classic: increasing income and cutting expenses. If you also want to create multiple income streams, maybe you can think about what you're good at doing and how you can convert your skills into a business. Another important question to think about is how much you can do. I think last year I wasn't sure about the boundary between my PhD and my work, so I was so overwhelmed with everything and I didn't make a big progress on my thesis either. So I think it's quite essential to know your limit, how much time and energy that you can dedicate into this task without compromising your main priority, which is your PhD or other kind of full-time responsibility. Lastly, I think it's also important to think about, is it worth it to spend so much time on doing this thing, and how much value you can gain besides money. That's all for today, and thank you for reaching to the end of this video. Wishing you a year of wealth and happiness. I will see you in the next one. Bye!